Hi, everybody. This is a Strat-o-matic championship game in the 1972 IFL, which is a draft league, a retro draft league in Strat-o-matic. And we have joining the game in progress. I missed the first quarter, but it's the Irvine Anteaters against the Dallas, what is it, the Dallas Destroyers? Yeah, the Dallas Destroyers. So here we go. 3rd and 10 here as Irvine is looking to open up their lead. Their quarterback is Matt Domris, I think. Short pass to Tom Matt or Mate. These old names I don't know how to pronounce. Anyway, goes for 9. So dump off to Bob Trumpy. Some of these guys turned into announcers, some turned into coaches, some turned into Hall of Famers. But this is a draft league based off the 1972 NFL season. There you see the Anteaters go up 10-0 on the Destroyers. We'll try to catch up on this. As you can see, the goalposts are on the goal line. Johnny Unitas, the quarterback for the Dallas Destroyers, the 1972 Johnny Unitas card is not going to be your vintage card that we've seen in the past. It's an 11-yard pickup there on 1st and 10 on a short pass, but it's pretty darn good, especially guessed wrong. A 7 guessed right on long gain. Wow, better than I thought it would be. He only attempted 157 passes, but an offensive onside and 7-yard gain on 1st down. That was to Walt Garrison is the running back. Walt Garrison's a fullback. Leroy Kelly of the Cleveland Browns is the halfback. Now Vince Clements checks into the game as the fullback. Off tackle right to Leroy Kelly, picks up 6. And it's 1st down Destroyers as they're inching towards midfield. Their tight end's Rich Castor. Their flanker is Billy Parks. And George Farmer is the split end. Looking past to Rich Castor, correctly double teamed, incomplete. So you can see the flat pass cards of this era weren't quite as strong as they are in the modern day, but the long pass cards, especially Unitas, is much better. The Destroyers are coached by Tim Bollier, and Rick Ramassiere is the coach of the Irvine Anteaters. Long pass to Rich Castor, guessed wrong, incomplete. Just missed a big hit there, and that would have been much needed by the Destroyers. Oh my. They're using, I believe they use the draft league defensive cards, or not the draft leagues, but the actual defensive cards of some teams. Like this is maybe the, I don't know, the Pittsburgh Steelers 1972 defensive card or something like that. So that's how they draft those cards. So they're not using the same defensive cards. A long pass to George Farmer. Guess right, 1 man in zone on the 7 has an intercepted. 2 through 7 intercepted plus 33. So the Anteaters are looking to get a stranglehold on this game as they are putting a lot of pressure on the Destroyers. The Destroyers came into this game, I think they were 15-1 in the regular season plus playoffs. Let's go back to this. Both teams are 2-0 in the playoffs. The Destroyers only gave up 13 points in 2 playoff games, and they've already given up 10 points today. Of course, you got 2 really good teams, so anything can happen. End run right to Emerson Boozer, picks up 4, and it's still early in the game. They do have the individual fumble rules on. They use the white die 6 for, let's look at the rules real quick. They use the emphasized 6 rated linebackers. They use the dump off. They use the updated sack rule. Empty flat pass equals guessed wrong is on. Guessed right off tackle run to Larry Smith loses a yard. That would have been a short gain, guessed wrong, so good call there by Tim. Look at that offensive line that Rick's put together. 6'7", 6'7", 5'5", 6'3", and 6'7". Wow, Art Shell. Some of the Hall of Famers are on the line. Art Shell, Larry Little. Well, I don't know. Bob DeMarco's on a Hall of Famer. Walt Sweeney, he might be. Winston Hill. All of them have great cards. Long pass to Haven Moses. Guessed right. 1 man in zone. And it's incomplete. So the Anteaters will have to punt. A 42-yard punt. And it goes down to the 29-yard line. That's where Johnny Unitas will take over. So Unitas, I guess he would have still been starting there for the Colts in '72. Should take a look at his his career stats on Pro Football Reference. 2-yard gain, the line, but to Walt Garrison. There's a hold that'll back up the Destroyers 14 yards, half the distance to the goal. Remember, in this era, holding was a 15-yard penalty. Walt Garrison's in the backfield in a 2 tight end set. Short pass to Tom Mitchell. There's a man coming. Put some pressure on Unitas, and Aaron Brown sacks Johnny Unitas. His 7 up against Rocky Freitas' 4 pass blocking had a 40% chance of a sack on that, and it was a 22 roll. So let's check out Mr. Unitas. Off tackle right, guessed wrong. Garrison picks up 7. So a lot of these old style games were defensive battles with some big plays coming on off turnovers. Yeah, so Johnny, you an 8-yard gain on 3rd and 23 on a guessed wrong run off tackle by Walt Garrison, and it'll be a punt for the Destroyers. Irvine would love to take this ball here, use up as much time as they can, and end up with some more points. But it's a fumble, -3. Irvine's picked it back up, though. Whew, that was nearly a big play for the Destroyers. Like I said, in this era, big play turnovers, a lot of sacks, a lot of great defensive linemen. Horace Jones here, 5'10". Ben McGee's a 5'3". Jess Repue's a 6'4", and Vernden Herder. Who ever heard of a name like Vernden Herder? And run right to Larry Smith, loses 6. There's a holding call. So what would you rather have? 2nd and 16? Yes. Instead of 1st and 25. Tough call there, though. Irvine's in a hole either way. Your average play is not 9 yards, though, so you might want to have taken that first 25. Guessed wrong, flat pass. 3rd down. So who is this quarterback here? Marty Dalmreese. Don't really remember him. Decent end run card. Not too bad card, but less than United's for sure. I remember Tom Matt I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but he was a Colts linebacker, or Colts halfback. Flat pass left to Larry Schreiber. Misses as Jim Files' 4 rating stands up to the white die 4. That could have been a first down. But as you can see, the interceptions on 4. That's definitely not your standard generic defensive card. Let's look at Mr. Dome Race. Marty Dome Race. 40-yard punt. 5:24 to go in the half. 19-yard return. Now Dallas is cooking with gas as they get the ball inside Anteater territory. .506 to go in the half. Dallas would like to get some points here. Their drive so far today, look at this ball possession chart. Dallas has gone interception, punt, interception, punt. Flat pass left as Johnny Unitas tried to look for Walt Garrison, and the Gerald Irons' white pass rating of 4 stood up to the white die 4. So that's the weak spot in the defense. You'll see Tim go back there again, just like we saw the other, as Rick tried to hit that on 3rd down on that last play versus his 4 linebacker. End run wrong to Jimmy Thomas, only gets 3 as it misses a couple of big gains here. That'll bring up 3rd and 7. In comes Henry Reed as a defensive end with an 8 pass rush. Dave Long's got an 8. Buck Buchanan, old Kansas City Chief, I think, And Bill Stanfield. Short pass to George Farmer, 4-minute zone. Hits the receiver rating of 23, but there's a flag down. Offsides against Irvine, that'll be declined. That's a big first down there. George T. Farmer makes the catch, breaks through the line, and goes for 23 yards. That's a huge pickup. Look at that receiver card. Some really nice yardage. Has a lot of blanks, but when you hit one of those big numbers, you need that in this era when you have sacks set up 3rd and long. Guess wrong pass, picks up 8. Dallas is knocking on the door here, 2nd and 2. At the Irvine 15-yard line. Leroy Kelly and Walt Garrison in the backfield. Four three against a two running back, 2 tight end set. Or they just call this the tight end formation. Off tackle right to Leroy Kelly, picks up 4, guessed right. It would have been a touchdown, guessed wrong. So that'll bring up 1st and 10 at the 11. They can still get a first down here. Can the Anteaters home to a field goal? Off tackle right to Garrison. There's the man in zone, guessed right, only picks up 2. Another good call there by Rick. 2nd and 8. The pass blocking for the Destroyers doesn't have any 7s. He's got a 3, couple of 4s, and then a couple of 5s. So good old Buck Buchanan and the boys can try to get a sack here. They go to a 3 running back, 2 tight end set. And Buck Buchanan played his entire career for the Chiefs. They're not showing blitz, though. That might be a house rule. I'm not sure. Off tackle left to Garrison, picks up 4. So 3rd and 4, 2 minutes to go in the half. Big play here. If they go for another off tackle to Garrison, every roll guessed wrong gets in except the 5. And you know about Unitas' card. He hasn't thrown it yet, but maybe he's lulling Rick into a little complacency. No, he goes for the run again. Vince Clements, guessed right, picks up 4. With all those good guessed right running back, it's hard to key somebody. But that would have been the only way to stop that play. So 1st and goal at the 1. Now, there's no doubt if he's going to run guessed right here, he's going to run guessed right again to one of these backs. So you might as well try to key here because the chances of you keeping him out just by guessing runs not great. Unless it goes on the D card. It's been going on the O card every time, 3 runs in a row, which helped Tim get that first down. He keys Unitas, but it's a linebacker to Garrison. The linebacker in the zone, Al Atkinson, keeps him out. So that'll bring up 2nd and goal. Can he hold him 2 more times? He's got a key right, I think, in one of these plays. Even though it's a 4-3, he's got a decent chance on 5, 6, and 7 if it goes in the D cards of keeping him to within a yard. So many other rolls, though, go for at least a yard. So that's actually the only 3. Linebacker Leroy Kelly guessed wrong because he was keying somewhere else. And that's a touchdown. 1:30 to go in the half. Irvine used a couple of timeouts there to keep it, to give themselves a chance to drive down. Rick says, nice drive. Tim says, thanks. He needed that. It seemed like the Irvine Anteaters were dominating for much of the first half, but all that doesn't matter. They're only down 3. them meaning Dallas. So can Irvine get some points here and get some momentum back going into halftime? 1:22 to go in the second quarter. 10-7 Irvine on top. They have the ball. They're at their own 22. Speedy Duncan was the kickoff returner there. Larry Smith has a nice end run card. Might see him try to catch him and guess wrong a couple of times. Marv Hubbard, the old Oakland Raiders, got some short gains too in run. He's not falling for it though. He's calling run. Times like this, you might want to air it out there, get him off those run calls, throw a couple of bombs. What does Marty's long pass card look like on a 9? Take a quick peek. It would have been incomplete. He picks up a little bit on 10 and 5. Guessed wrong. He's got a good low-risk card, though. Not a lot of interceptions on that card. He even guessed right. So air it out, man. I don't care. There are Haven Moses and Otis Taylor. That's two nice wide receivers. Covered by Ken Reeves and Jim Johnson. Short pass to Tom Matt. Guessed wrong, but it falls incomplete on the D card. So the tide has turned a little bit with a lot more rolls landing on the defensive cards of Dallas while they're on defense, and the offensive cards of Dallas while they're on offense. .45 seconds to go. Now you have to worry about not picking up the third down and then seeing Dallas get into field goal range and tie it up before halftime, especially if they get a nice punt return. Long pass to Tom Matt. To dump off 13 yards, man, did Irvine need that. Not so much because they're still far away from getting points of their own, but they don't have to punt the ball away. So that's a big relief. Irvine got the ball to start the game, so Dallas is going to receive the second half kickoff. Jethro Pugh was the sack pass rushing chance against Bob DeMarco. Only had a 6% chance of a sack here. Off tackle draw right to Marv Hubbard as Dallas switched to a 3-3-5. Picks up 5 yards. Almost picked up 15 on the split. Can't call timeout here because he's out of timeout, so he's going to have to spike it or hurry. He goes for the hurry. 15 seconds left. Dallas playing conservative 3-3-5 here, moving their extra DB back to the long pass. So now they double cover tight end and run right to Boozer, picks up 6, guessed wrong, and that'll be a first down. He'll spike it here with 1 second left. He's trying to hit one of those edges for a big run. No, he just lets the clock run out. So 10-7 Irvine in front. They're going to have to kick to Dallas. We have a 3-minute break here, folks. So I'm going to log off for a second and grab some coffee myself.
Oh, come on! Why do you always do that? You know I can't have that. Only once in a while. When I get cake, I'm crying. My birthday.
I remember.
Did you see how they baked me?
I did.
That was embarrassing. I can't believe I touched it. I can't believe I ate gluten.
You know, there's a bunch of clothes in mom. You don't want to put that clothes away, okay?
Exactly.
You saw that basket there, right?
Yeah, I saw it when I took a shower.
Okay, I'm back. Looks like they're getting close to resuming. Let's take a look at their. In 2 games, the Destroyers have only thrown 23 passes. In 2 games. That means they've run the ball 90 times and only thrown the ball 23 times. The Anteaters, on the other hand, have thrown 41 passes and run for about rushes 61 times. So both teams like to run the ball. No doubt about that. Okay, we got the kickoff. 36 yards, first down, look in pass, incomplete. So 2nd and 10 after a good return gives the Dallas the ball at their own 43. Look out for that George Farmer guy. There's a pass to him, but boom, here comes the pass rush as Bill Stanfield takes Dennis Nelson, grabs him by the ears and throws him aside. 80% chance of a sack. The random was a 44. So it'll be 3rd and 17. Big play there for the Anteaters. Another 23-yard completion. Their offensive receiver card would have been bad juju for the Anteaters. They need to stop here and to figure out their offense, get that going. You got to be patient in this style of game, though, with both teams really strong. Long pass to George Farmer being double covered by a linebacker, and in comes Buck Buchanan. Buck Rogers, a.k.a. Buck Buchanan, flies across the galaxy and sacks Unitas. So 4th and 26, the old 4th down and 26, you're not going for a fake punt there. So the punt takes it down to the 33 of Irvine, and they'll take over there. So no harm, no foul on that possession as Dallas went away from their usual run to a pass. We just talked about how often they like to run the ball. They decided to try to switch things up, maybe, hope that Rick had been looking at those scouting reports and catch him by surprise. You don't get a sack chance if you call run, but Rick wisely stuck with the pass call, and now it is Irvine ball. Linebacker to Marv Hubbard up the middle. Nobody there. Guessed wrong. Picks up 5. Marv Hubbard, a steady contributor for the Oakland Raiders. Emerson Boozer, a New York Jet. Line book to Hubbard. Guessed right, 1 man in the zone. But the center makes a block, and there's a fumble. Irvine jumps on it. My, oh my. Marv Hubbard has a 4.5% chance of a fumble. These random rolls are out of 1,000. Those sack random rolls are out of 100. So he had a 4.5% chance of a fumble, and the random roll 1 to 1,000 was 29. 1st and 10. So picked up the first down, jumped on it. Look at those D cards. Brutal with 1 man in zone, even with a 4-3. That's fantastic for a 4-3 defense. End run right to Emerson Boozer. Guessed right, but there's nobody in the zone. Defensive end -1 or +6. And Vern Den Herder. Vern Den Herder. Man, if your last name was Den Herder, you're going to go with Vern as the first name? Vern Den Herder? Sherm Den Herder? I don't know, man. That's rough. Maybe they're from like Scandinavia or something. Off tackle left to Hubbard. There's a man in the zone, but the tackle, again, a fumble. This time Dallas grabs it. And they're going to sit on that ball. Marv Hubbard. You live by the Marv, you die by the Marv. As another random roll really low. 4.5% chance again. Guess right. Off tackle right left to Walt Garrison. Picks up 6. As the defensive tackle, Buck Buchanan couldn't make the play against a white die 6. His 5 run rating couldn't make the play. I still blame Vernon Herder. 2nd and 4. At the Dallas 48. They're at their own 48. Line buck to Vince Clements. Now they're going back to that run after the pass that resulted in a sack. 3rd and 4. Actually, it wasn't a sack. It was more like a incomplete sack. 3rd and 4, Dallas at the 48, and you know he can run it. Guess right. Vince Clements and Leroy Kelly are both outstanding. Guess right. Plus, they have a couple of 6s on the left side, a couple of 5s up the middle. Look for him to run to that left side off tackle. No, it's a short pass to Billy Parks. It's a pass call. Nice read by Rick. I would have been calling run, and I would have been caught with a receiver reading against a pretty nice receiver there in Billy Parks. But Rick forces a punt again. So 2 big stops by the Anteaters. Of course, UC Irvine, which is the origin of the UC Irvine Anteaters. The Anteaters no longer play football. The only football player in the NFL that comes from UC Irvine is Darren Fells, who played basketball at UC Irvine and switched to football later on after he played overseas professionally for a few years, playing hoops. Big guy, decided to try his hand at tight end, and it's worked out. That was a guess right end run from +3 yards, off tackle left to Emerson Boozer. Boozer's got just as big of a fumble chance as Marv Hubbard, so you're not lowering your chances by using Emerson. 2nd and 9 here is that those first 2 runs didn't result in any yardage. Short pass to Otis Taylor. It's a run call, 4 man in zone. Guessed wrong on Marty's card, and that's a first down. That would have been a first down wrong, right, and double teamed. 1st and 10. Out to the 45, or down to the 45 of Dallas. Off tackle right to Boozer. Guessed wrong. The dreaded 5 comes up, and on top of that, it's an offside, so no play. Back it up 5 yards. Marty Domries is one of those guys, that Tom Cook was talking about. Could use him as an example for the double team completions, which are like half of what your guess rights are. But look at that. You're missing out on those must run chances. So should I put one of those on the card? On the double team column, I should say. Anyway, first and 15, you get a 7-yard run thanks to the fine blocking of Bob DeMarco. That'll bring up 2nd and 8 in Dallas territory. Spectator has joined. This is about a 20-team league, and I would say at least three of the teams, or 3 of the coaches coach 2 teams. Looking past the Bob Trumpy, there's a 6th linebacker there. It's Guest Wrong. Picks up 4 off the D card. It's hard to throw flats on some of these stock cards. Look at that. 2-man in zone. You got intercepted on plus 4, or intercepted on 4, 11, and 12. And we should be able to figure out whose card that is. If I open up the standard 72 set, I bet you I could be able to figure it out. Actually, we don't have to do that. What are we doing? The 72 IFL set will tell us right away. That was a guest right linebacker on 3rd and 4. They're going to try a field goal. This is kind of like a field goal from the 29. It's up and it's good. Jack Maple, web guy in the house. Good luck to you both. Look, when you're a spectator, I'm telling you, don't type. Mike, just let them play. They don't need to know you're here. That you can talk to them after the game. But that's just my personal opinion. So they get the points. They get a long field goal. They decide to take it out from 5 yards deep, and that would have been a great call on their own cards. But on the defensive return cards, plus 11, plus 12, plus 15, that pins them deep. They're still only down a single score. So what were we saying? The Dallas Destroyers managed team, they have 7-yard run, guessed right on first down. They have the 1972 Pittsburgh defensive card. So that's where you're seeing all those interceptions on flat passes. They're just monsters. And the Anteaters, they have the 1972 Green Bay Packers defensive card. 2nd and 3, guessed right off tackle for 2, but there's a penalty holding. That'll back it up. That'll make it 2nd and 10. Tim would be very content to just run right down the field and take the lead with a touchdown. Looking past Leroy Kelly, white die 6 helps him out there. Picks up 9 on 2nd and 10. It'll be 3rd and 1. And you know how good he is, guessed right, on running. Unitas has had a very shaky day. He's looking like an old Johnny Unitas instead of the Johnny Unitas of old. 5 of 13 for 60 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 picks. Are we going to see a run here, or is he going to air it out? It's a line buck to Leroy Kelly, guessed wrong. So if he had called run there, he would have had to punt. But Rick has been pretty good on anticipating when Tim's running or throwing on 3rd down and short. Just missed it there. Line buck to Garrison, picks up 2. The old Packers defensive cards, not too shabby. 2nd and 8. 3:18 to go in the 3rd quarter. Off tackle run to Garrison. Guessed right, picks up 4. That'll bring up 3rd and 4. 69.1 is the fumble chance there, which equates to 6.9% chance. That's higher than Marv Hubbard. Old Mother Hubbard coughed it up in the first, or on the series or 2 ago. Long pass to George Farmer against the run call. This could be good. It's a long gain, 63 yards. There's a flag down. What is the penalty? As that goes all the way down to the 11-yard line. Offsetting penalties. So that big play is called back thanks to a yellow hanky, which meant no play. That single completion would have been more yards than Unitas had all game. I already told you how big of a weapon that George Farmer is. It's like Billy Parks' card. He's got some decent chances too. He's maxed short. It's a pass call this time, off tackle right to Vince Clements. Only picks up 2, 4th and 2, and Tim will punt. Could that be the non-play of the game? 42-yard punt down to the 31, 6-yard return. The Irvine Anteaters will take over at the 37. You keep getting these big stops, these big momentum shifting plays, but Irvine's having a tough time opening this up to a 2-score game. They had the 10-0 lead in the first half, but since then, both teams have been trading punts or turnovers, and neither team has been able to get out by more than 6 points. And that's what the lead is right now. Off tackle left to Boozer. Picks up 5. 2nd and 5. Let's check out the carries. Boozer has 5 unfatigued carries remaining. Hubbard's got 14. Looking past to Bob Trumpy. Guess wrong, as they're in the short yardage defense. That's going to pick up 8 on the receiver card. But again, look at that Steeler defensive card on flat. If you get 2 men in zone, hi Chihuahua. 1st and 10 out to the midfield. Moses and Taylor have nice cards, and the pass rush of Dallas is not as strong as, well, like I say, it's not as strong, but there it is. Ted Hendricks beats up Bob DeMarco, the 10 defensive tackle against the 5 pass blocking of DeMarco. But you do have a lot of 7s and 5s on the line. I don't think you should be afraid, especially with the dump off, rule in play of throwing short. I guess Taylor and they're not quite. There's not any long gains there. Off tackle right to Marv Hubbard. Guessed right. It's gonna go nowhere. There's not as many big gains there, but if you do hit a receiver reading, it could be good. 3rd and 15. Got to be careful here with the Steelers having so many chances of a turnover on the pass. See, if that would have been a short pass, that would have been on the interception split, I believe, of Pittsburgh, which could have resulted in an interception for the Dallas Destroyers. Short pass to Dean Washington being double covered. This is not going to work. Defender X or plus 15. Now, if he had been double covering somewhere else and left him alone, that could have been a first down. So it was one of those rare good calls on both teams. Good call by Rick to target that guy, and good call by Tim to double team him. So I have to punt. And we're into the 4th quarter now, folks. I don't like all this backslapping and plauditudes in the middle of the game. Save that stuff for after the game. I don't mind an occasional good call or a nice stop, I guess, but just don't do it too often. You're calling a great game, says Tim. Thanks. So are you, says Rick. Come on, people. This is a Super Bowl. You got to get mean. You got to get tough. That doesn't mean you want to be impolite, though. So, guess wrong flat pass by Unitas hits a blank. Johnny's just not Johnny on the spot today. A long pass to Farmer, 0 men in zone, guessed right. Incomplete. Green Bay's cards the Green Bay defensive cards are not quite as formidable as the Steelers. Let's take a quick look at Dallas's cards. I bet you they have a slightly better interception chance. Not as bad as I thought it might be. Short pass to Tom Metcalf. Here comes a pass rush. Irvine strips the ball. They try to take it in, but they can't. But, man, that's a big play. Henry Reed against Rocky Freitas. Rocky's having a shaky day. And that gives the Irvine a chance to open this game up, make it a 2-score game. Unitas is having a nightmare. Strip sack, fumble, couple of picks, and run left to Boozer. There's a fumble. Anteaters get it back, try to advance it, and they fumble it again. Haven Moses found the ball after. Look at that. Snap fumble by Marty. Picked up by Bob DeMarco, the center. Center sneak, loses 3 yards. He fumbles it. Picked up by Haven Moses. He tries to advance it. He can't advance it, and that's a crazy play, folks. 2nd and goal at the 8. Short pass to Bob Trumpy. 3-minute zone, guessed wrong. This could be a touchdown, and it is. Maurice Tyler's 4 rating couldn't make the play against the White Die 5, and the Anteaters go up 2 touchdowns. Now it's do or die time for Johnny U and the boys from Dallas. This is a good punt return out to the 42. Tim's been in a lot of championship games this year, but I think he's come up short a few times. Or at least the last couple years. I think he missed Somifa 2 years ago, Autumn Wind 2 years ago. Not 2 years ago, last year. Last year for both Somifa and Autumn Wind. Looking past Leroy Kelly, picks up 13 yards. So Tim wants to make this a game, and he's already at the Irvine 45. Off tackle left to Garrison. Penalty, 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 penalty. A lot of penalties today. Remember, Unitas has a long gain on 7 guessed wrong. You need to throw that thing down the field. Long buck to Garrison, picks up 3. Not getting any of those short gains. Those would help too. Garrison's had a decent game though, 15 runs for 64 yards. He's got 5 unfatigued carries left. You really need a touchdown here. Off tackle left to Garrison. There's a man in the zone. I'm sorry, there's no man in the zone. But the defensive tackle, Buck Buchanan, makes the play, 3rd and 12. A lot of D chances, a lot of sack chances coming up on the dice today. Two tight end set for Dallas. Irvine stays in a 4-3 base. Short pass to George Farmer. There was only 3 men in zone, but it turns into a dump off for 5 yards. 4th and 7, you're kind of in field goal range at the very edge, but I think you need to go for it here. 9:18 to go in the game. You really need 2 touchdowns. He decides to punt. Well, with those defensive cards, maybe that's the right move. Gets him inside the 15. Irvine will take over at the 13. Off tackle right to Boozer. There's a man in the zone. Guessed right. Picks up 2. Seems like every time there's been a fumble, except for one, Irvine's recovered it. Let's take a look at the box score. We've had 5 fumbles by Irvine, and they've recovered all but 1. 3 fumbles for Dallas, they've recovered all but 1. Off tackle, defensive tackle, 0 or plus 5, picks up 5. Ben McGee can't make the play against the White Die 6. That'll bring up 3rd and 3. Time is ticking away. That's you're fighting not only the Irvine offense, you're also fighting the clock if you're Dallas. 3-6 rated linebackers. That's such an advantage when you have the White Die 6 rule on. Short pass to Bob Trumpy. Guessed wrong. 3-man in zone. This should be a 1st down, and it is. 17 yards. If he had called pass, it would have been incomplete. Tough to do, though. Dalmers is having a great game. 16 to 21 for 177 and 2 touchdowns. We talked about the shaky game that Unitas has had. 7:12 to go in the game. I'll tackle right to Hubbard. Picks up 2. 6:36. I think you're content now. We're up 2 touchdowns in this rule set with that strong of a defense. All those pass rushers. You're probably content just to run. Maybe try a pass on 3rd down, but run then 50-50 run or pass, depending on the down and distance. And run left to Boozer, picks up 5. And now at 3rd and 3, I think you're going to see another run. That'll take the game clock inside 6 minutes. Even if you have to punt, still a safe play. Look for another short yardage call by Dallas as they try to fill the zone. It's an end run right to Boozer. Offensive onside guard +7 or +1. If there had been a man in the zone, it would have been only a 3-yard gain and likely would have seen Irvine punt. Now they're going to run it 3 times again. Take it inside 5 minutes this way. The worst thing you could do in this spot is to throw a flat pass that's picked. Really high chance of a run back for a touchdown. Loses a yard on 1st and 10. That's fine with Rick. He's fine with running 2 more times and punting. Guessed right, Hubbard is 9.1% chance of a fumble. You got to have a better running back. Short pass Otis Taylor, 4-minute zone. Ooh, it goes on the offensive cards for a 13-yard gain in the 1st down. There's an injury. Art Shell gets the wind knocked out of him, and he'll have to come out. So gutsy call there, as with 4-minute zone, you're risking a pick on the defensive cards, but he picked it up. Now he can run it 3 times straight if he wants it. It's kind of almost in field goal range here. Another field goal here, and that puts the game out of reach. Off tackle left to Boozer, keying on Hubbard, picks up 3. Good fill, though, because without that, it would have been a long game. My, oh, my. Watch him go back to Boozer. He has a lower fumble chance. Slightly lower. 4:12 to go in the game. 2nd and 7. Off tackle right to Boozer. Man in zone, guessed right. Picks up 6. These backs are so good, so different than the modern day backs. When you guess them right, you pretty much are going to stuff them. But these guys can pick up 4, 6, 7, 5 yards at a clip, even guess right. Makes it tough to stop on defense. 3rd and 1 now. 2 more first downs, and this game is over. Actually, it's pretty much over now because if he gets, as long as he doesn't turn it over, he's in good shape. Off tackle left to Larry Schreiber, guessed right. 1 man in zone, loses a yard, so he'll try to kick a field goal here. So best case if you're Dallas is a missed field goal and you take over. But he hits it. Jim Turner, 2 through 7, 11 and 12, nails it. Now it's a 16-point game. And folks, need I remind you that there is no 2-point conversion in this rule set. So it's over. It is over. I hate to say it's over when it's not over, but I think it's over. 2:24 to go in the game, 16-point lead. You need some of Unitas's comeback magic. Long pass, and you need to hit that 7 on the quarterback's card, but it's not doing it. You're giving him a gift there if you stay in 4-3, Rick, but maybe there's a house rule that prevents you from going to 3-3-5 until you get under 2 minutes. Take another shot deep. Who cares if they're covered by a 6 or a 5? Long past the Parks again. It's a 7, but it's on the D card, and it's picked off. And now you just take a couple knees, punt it back to him, make him use his timeouts. I don't know if this is necessarily an upset. Like I said, both one was 15-1, one was 14-2. But I think with those 6 linebackers, if you play this game 10 times, it's going to be like 6 wins for Dallas and 4 for Irvine. And we landed in one of those 4 spots as Unitas had just a nightmare of a game, 7 of 19 for 78 yards and 3 interceptions. I mean, with that long gain on 7, you could get 78 yards on 1 catch. We saw that 60-something yard play get called back due to offsetting penalties. Domers takes a knee. Dallas calls timeout, which you should do. Keep fighting until the end. You never know. I actually had a fumble on a knee the other day, which is very like 1 in 2,000 or something like that. Now he goes to a line buck with Domers. I don't think I do that. Just keep taking knees. One more time. Maybe he took a knee thinking, oh, Tim might not call a timeout, but you got to keep fighting. You never know, especially with a long 8-on-7 quarterback. Call a timeout here, make him punt again. Like I said, coming into this game, Dallas had allowed 13 points in 2 playoff games, and they allowed 23 in just this one game. Some of it was due to the turnovers that put them in bad spots. .130 to go. Stay in your base. See if he stays 4-3 and take another shot deep. If he goes 3-3-5, that makes it tougher. Just if you're on defense, pull the extra DB back, put 2 men in zone. But you still can land on that 7. Guessed right on Unitas's card. Incomplete, or 7 yards on a dump off. Got to hurry up. He's not doubling, so go deep to Farmer or Parks. Doesn't matter. Unitas's card. 8-20 for 85 yards for Unitas. 3 picks. So he's thrown 3 passes complete to the other team and only 8 passes complete to his own team. There's finally on the quarterback's card, but doesn't hit a 7, hits a 9. Do it again. Got no choice at this point. You missed 2 more times. We just see Irvine take some knees. Long pass to Rich Caster. Come on, Johnny, hit one. We don't want to see you go out like that. Incomplete. So Johnny's nightmare day is over. 8-23 for 85 yards and 3 picks. A couple of knees to Marty. And that will do it, folks. Your 1972 IFL champions are the Irvine Anteaters, coached by Rick Ramassiere. Congratulations, Rick. Well done to Tim. I will be joining this league next year as a sub coach. So that's it, folks. Well done. Good job. Get a little post-game chat here. Good game. Good game. And Johnny Unitas' quarterback rating, not reflective of his league leading for the season, says Jack Maple, a.k.a. Mike Furlong. And the penalty that called the game back, that was huge too. All right, I'm going to shut it down. Quick look at the box score. Irvine doubling the first downs over Dallas. As you saw, Dallas couldn't get any offense, going 136 yards of offense today. Marty Domris is the game's MVP. Christian Boozer helped grind it out, only losing 1 fumble. But the big story is Johnny Unitas' 3 interceptions in a title game. He'll be kicking himself in the offseason over that as he gets ready to hang him up. We saw on Pro Football Reference that Unitas' last season is 1973 as he went to the Chargers as a 40-year-old. So 39-year-old quarterback, really good card, led his IFL team to the Super Bowl but couldn't get it done. I don't know if Tim will be playing Unitas at all next year because he only had 76 attempts and he only had 44% completion percentage, so probably not. So this will probably be the last meaningful game you'll see Unitas involved in. Domris goes all the way to 1977. This was his best season, though, as he completed 51% of his passes and had a decent touchdown to interception ratio. Don't think he comes close to that in any meaningful snaps after this. Limited completions or attempts in the other years. He's pretty good. It looks like pretty good in 74, maybe 73 might be okay. So he might see some more time in the IFL. But that's it. We'll close it out here. Good job. Kind of ironic that Domers outplayed Unitas in a 72 championship game, given the 72 Colts season in real life. Yeah, I'm guessing that Domers played. He was the backup to Unitas in 72, or they split. They split attempts. It looks like Domers was 4-5 as the quarterback of the Dolphins. I mean, of the Colts, and Unitas was 1-4. So maybe Unitas came in, had a rough start to the season, and then Domers took over. So we'll see. All right. Some good post-game chat. This is a good league, solid coaches. So I had a little bit of time this morning, decided to jump in and call this game. And hopefully some of you IFL coaches will take a look. I'll talk to you soon.